I am going to share my experience with a 72-hour water fast. Now I'm on hours 24 to 48. This is when I started to see the biggest metabolic changes in my body. This is when I'm going to explain why I track my blood glucose, ketones, and GKI and what the numbers mean. And as a quick disclaimer, this is my personal experience. I'm sharing my own data and my own observations. This is not medical advice or a recommendation for anyone to do an extended fast. So we got that out the way. So let's get started. Why I decided to check my blood glucose. There's a big reason for this. See, blood glucose tells me or shows me how sugar circulates in my bloodstream. For example, before I knew I had all these food allergies, I would eat certain things and my blood sugar would spike. So I would have a lot of spikes and I would always wonder, why am I so tired? I feel like I got a spike. Do I got a food allergy or something? Because before, I didn't even know what a GKI was. I didn't really learn about GKIs till last year. And then when I noticed that I would eat, so just say I had some bread. I would eat some bread, my blood sugar would spike to 199 and it would stay elevated for a couple days. So for me, it wasn't that I was trying to find like the lowest the lowest glucose possible. I needed to understand my body trends. Now, why did I track my ketones? Now, ketones are basically an alternative fuel source produced in the liver. To make a long story short, they tend to increase during fasting when carbohydrates availability has decreased. So that's when the ketones kick in, because the body is such a miraculous thing here that it will compensate for what it needs. So if it doesn't have quick sugar, it will deliver and say, hey, okay, I got you. Don't worry about it. I got you. I'm going to make some ketones. So what I also noticed is that just because my ketones are high, it doesn't mean that it's better. But I did use it to understand my metabolism shifts. That was like the biggest thing for me, is to understand the shifts. Now, what is GKI? So let's get all this together. Now, GKI stands for Glucose Ketone Index. Basically, it's a combination of your glucose and your ketones into one number. So instead of looking at each measurement separately, GKI helps me to understand my overall metabolic state. So generally, if your Lord Jesus, if your GKI is high, that means your body is using glucose as its primary energy source. And if your GKI is low, it's producing more ketones and not that much glucose. So I use my GKI numbers to observe trends. That's it. It was trends in my body. So why did I test? I was basically curious, and I started my testing last year when I had lost my biggest amount of weight. I lost a bunch of weight last year, and we'll talk about that in another video, another time, another place. But basically, I was curious about it. I know it worked for me last year when I was tracking my GKI. I wanted to understand how my body reacts to certain foods. I wanted to see what it would be like during my water fast. It was basically just observation for me, and it helped me understand my data. So that way, if I felt another trend going, all I got to do is look at the data. I got a whole year worth of GKI, ketone, and blood glucose trackings, and then I have another 7 months of body composition tracking that I can reference. So, here are my readings. Okay, so my GKI was 30, then midday it had shot up to like 52, but then it started to come back down. And in my opinion, what I think was going on is that my body was finally releasing the last bit of the carbohydrates, the quick glucose that's going through my bloodstream, and it cleared out pretty fast, like as the day went by. I definitely started noticing a shift, but I wasn't tired or anything like that because I still had energy. So that's what I think was going on. But then by the next day, you see how my GKI went up to 5.5 as soon as I scroll back down. So it went up to 5.5. My glucose came down to 80. So that was like the full first 24 going into my 48th hour. So as you can see, my numbers were pretty good. My ketones were going up. I actually started to feel the energy shift or energy source, and I still was able to work out, do my 88,000 steps. I had no problem with that. As the day went by, you see my GKI started to go down more. My ketones started to go up more, which I still was feeling pretty good. And then I hit one of my milestones. I got to a therapeutic level of GKI, and I thought I was very good. And I felt like I could have kept going if I just, kind of said to myself, let's go. But to be honest with you, I was thinking about food the whole time, so I didn't want to keep going. It's like when I got to the 9th, I knew that later that day I was breaking my water fast, and that's all I could think about. So I did not want to keep going. I kind of at this point was done. I couldn't even do my 8,000 steps at the time, so I did like 30 minutes. But yeah, so I just wanted to kind of show you what the numbers look like. And I know I check my glucose kind of close to each other. But you know something? If you have a continuous glucose monitor, that would be your best bet if you don't want to pluck your finger with the little needle and do it that way. If you have a continuous one, I think you put it like a patch on your arm and it just tracks you throughout the day. So you can do it that way if you want. For me personally, I didn't want to pay the money for that, so I just got this one. And I feel like it works the same. I really like it because it does help me understand, like, if certain things don't agree with my body. I know that my glucose will spike, but these days, it comes down faster, which is a good thing. My morning glucose, ketones, and my morning GKI. As you can see, my glucose continued to decrease and my ketones gradually went up. And my GKI improved compared to day 1. Now, let's talk about hunger. Let's talk about the elephant in the room, so to speak. One thing I learned about hunger is that it's not consistent. And if you are on a fast, and if you can just say to yourself, I'm good, I don't need it. And that's not just with fasting. That's if you're trying to let go of sugar, if you're trying to let go of bread, if you're trying to let go of anything like that, just say to yourself, do I really need it? And most of the time you don't. So if you can get past that, you can make it. What I did during my fast, I continued to walk. I did notice a lot of dips in my energy, but I felt good overall. I wasn't cranky or anything like that. I felt really good for the most part. But I have to work, so I have to make sure my mental was, still stabilized. But one thing I can say is that out of all of this, the biggest lesson that I learned is that the body doesn't change instantly. It does take time to adapt. Blood glucose does not fall all at once. So I suspected it's just a fall, but it's gradual. And ketones don't jump overnight. Maybe they do in some cases, but they don't do it for me. Everything happens gradually. So you have to be very patient with yourself if you want to succeed in a water fast. I would say just take your time and know that you're good. All is well. And that's why I believe that for me, when I was tracking my GKI and my body composition, it actually told the whole story instead of just having fragments of information. So one thing that surprised me out of all of this is that when I got to day 2, my 24 to 48 hours, my hunger, it didn't really increase. I mean, I wanted the food, but I wasn't hungry, like per se. So I was able to get past that. And I did realize that my body was adapting more to the water fast, so I was okay in that point. And yeah, that's really it in a nutshell. So day 3, I will post in a few, and basically I'm going to talk about everything. So we'll conclude this video. If this is something that you like, please don't forget to click the like button and subscribe for more content like this. Have a wonderful day.